All right, let's be clear. We are not here to chat.
And we're not here to give you comfortable lies.
No. We are here to perform an intellectual autopsy on a dying system. Welcome to the Asset Move Laboratory.
Today, we're stripping away the illusions, all of them, to really reveal the rotting mechanism that's underneath this global debt economy.
And to do that, you have to look back. You can't look forward without knowing what you've lost.
Exactly. You have to understand the foundation first.
Precisely. This is our 20th entry in the Bitcoin 21 Guardian series. Today, we're focusing on a man who was, well, he was the century of the empire's treasury.
The guardian of time himself, Eugen von Böhm-Bawerk.
But before we get to the man, I want to transport you. I want you to picture late 19th century Vienna. You're in the Winter Palace on Himmelpfarrgat.
And it's a scene of deceptive beauty, you know. You've got this neo-Renaissance architecture, this Baroque majesty.
That looks like the peak, the absolute peak of civilization.
To the untrained eye, yes. But inside the Ministry of Finance, it's panic. There's a rot hiding behind all that gold leaf.
So paint the picture inside that office. It's not a party.
Oh, far from it. Imagine a dark oak desk, a single candle maybe. And sitting there is Böhm-Bawerk. And he is not just some bureaucrat pushing papers around.
He's fighting a war.
He's fighting a war against what he called the spider's web of populist spending and just fiscal insanity.
The spider's web. That sounds, claustrophobic.
It was. He's trying to hold back a tidal wave. And our mission today is to dissect his 1889 masterwork, The Positive Theory of Capital.
And his final warning, the one from 1914, our finances.
That's the one, because it all comes down to a core thesis, and it is going to sting.
It should. The modern West is committing a tragedy. We have regressed. We have devolved from a civilized, low-time preference society
back to a primitive, high-time preference existence. We are literally looting the future to pay for a party in the present.
And Böhm-Bawerk gave us the logic over 100 years ago that explains exactly why this is suicidal.
He really did.
Okay, so let's unpack the man himself. Who was this century? Because, you know, when I hear Austrian economist, I think of Mises, maybe Hayek. Böhm-Bawerk feels like the giant they all stood on.
He absolutely was. I mean, Eugen von Böhm-Bawerk, born 1851 in Brno. Noble family, deeply influenced by Karl Menger. But here's the real difference.
What's that?
Unlike so many theorists who just stay in the ivory tower writing books, Böhm-Bawerk went into the arena. He was the Austrian finance minister 3 separate times between 1895 and 1904.
That is not a theoretical job. That is the hot seat.
It's the hottest seat in the entire empire. And he wasn't there to make friends. He was a principal in human form, uncompromising.
Okay, so give us an example. What does that actually mean?
Look at the sugar subsidies. 1902.
Sugar subsidies. That sounds surprisingly modern. Governments love handing out subsidies.
They do, and the empire had these long-standing subsidies for the sugar industry. It was a classic case of political favoritism.
So using public money to prop up a special interest group.
Exactly. Free money for the friends of the crown because they had the ear of the emperor.
And Böhm-Bawerk.
He looked at this and just said, no. And he abolished them.
Took them off. Cold turkey.
Completely. And you have to understand, this was a fatal blow to those political parasites. He made a lot of powerful enemies.
But he did it for what? To correct the market?
To correct economic distortions. He believed that national prosperity comes from sound finances, not from handing out political favors.
That takes some serious guts. But then there's 1904, the Resignation. This is the moment that really separates a statesman from a politician. What happened?
The military came knocking. They wanted more money.
As they do.
Right. They were demanding this excessive spending that would have completely wrecked the budget. It would have required massive debt.
And normally when the military asks for money, the finance minister just writes the check.
Usually. But not Böhm-Bawerk.
Right.
Rather than bow to that pressure, rather than compromise the fiscal integrity of the empire, he resigned.
He just walked away.
He walked away from power to preserve his integrity. He chose truth over the chair.
That's incredibly rare. And his actions, they were all driven by his theory. So let's slow down here and get into the meat of it. The anatomy of time preference.
This is what he called the disease of the now.
Okay, so time preference. We hear this term thrown around a lot, especially in Bitcoin circles. But what did Böhm-Bawerk actually mean by it?
In his book, Capital and Interest, he explains that humans have this natural, almost biological tendency to value present goods more than future goods.
Right, the classic test. If I offer you $100 today or $100 in a year, which one do you take?
You take it today, obviously.
Always. But why?
Exactly. That's the real question, why? He broke it down into 3 specific determinants. 3 reasons we crave the now.
Okay, what's the first one?
The first is future provision. Basically, we generally assume we'll be richer in the future, we're optimistic.
So if I think I'll be making more money in 10 years, a dollar today feels more valuable because, well, I'm relatively poorer right now.
Precisely. It makes perfect sense. We expect progress.
Okay, what's number 2?
This is the dangerous one. He called it psychological underestimation.
Psychological underestimation. Break that down for me.
He saw this as a cognitive defect, a literal flaw in our human operating system. He argued that our imagination is finite.
So we can't, what, picture the future?
We physically cannot feel the needs of the future as vividly as we feel the hunger or the desire of the present moment.
Wow. So it's not just impatience, it's a literal inability to connect with our future selves.
Exactly. Böhm-Bawerk said, the you of next year is a total stranger to the you of today. You don't feel his hunger. You don't feel his pain.
And because you can't feel it, you discount it. You eat the seed corn today because your hunger is real now.
Well, the starvation of next winter is just,
Yeah.
it's an abstract concept. It's not real yet.
That is terrifying. It's like a glitch in the human brain. We are literally wired to be short-sighted.
We are. And the third determinant is the technical superiority of present goods.
Meaning if I have resources now, I can build tools, I can build capital.
You get a head start. The resource now makes you more productive later.
I want to circle back to that second point, though, that cognitive defect.
Huh.
The psychological underestimation. This is where the asset move analysis really has to kick in. Because if we have this defect naturally, shouldn't a healthy society try to fix it? Or at least mitigate it?
Ideally, yes. I mean, civilization is the process of overcoming that defect.
But modern central banking, it does the opposite.
It's a mechanism designed specifically to exploit this defect, to weaponize it.
Explain that. How are they weaponizing our own biology against us?
Just think about interest rates. The interest rate is the price of time. So when a central bank artificially crushes interest rates down to 0, what signal are they sending to your brain?
They're telling me money is cheap, that there's no reward for waiting.
None. They are signaling that the future has 0 value. They are literally hacking your biology. They are encouraging you to indulge that cognitive defect.
But consume everything now, go into debt.
Because the money will be worth less later anyway. It keeps the masses on a hamster wheel of hedonistic consumption. It is weaponized high-time preference.
A completely different path from what Böhm-Bawerk was advocating for. He called it roundabout production.
The net of prosperity. He used that fisherman analogy.
Right. Let's walk through that.
Yeah, it's a very simple but very powerful story. So you imagine a fisherman alone on an island.
Okay, scenario A, what's he doing?
Scenario A. The fisherman is just trying to catch fish with his bare hands. He's splashing around in the water, maybe catches 1 fish a day.
So he eats. He survives. But that's it.
That's it. He's stuck. Immediate satisfaction, but primitive productivity. He can never get ahead.
Okay, so now scenario B. This is where the agony of waiting comes in.
Exactly. The fisherman decides he wants to build a net. But here's the problem. To build that net, he has to stop fishing.
And if he stops fishing, he doesn't eat.
Right. So he has to spend days, maybe a week, weaving this net. That means he either has to starve for those days.
Or he has to have saved up enough fish beforehand to survive while he builds it.
That's the key. The production isn't the fishing. The production is the time spent building the tool. The starving or the consuming of savings is the price you pay to buy that time.
That detour, that's what he called roundabout production.
It's a detour to get to a much better destination.
Because once the net is finished,
His productivity explodes. He catches 50 fish a day. But he could only get there by delaying gratification, by waiting.
so civilization is quite literally built on the ability to wait.
Yes. Böhm-Bawerk called this the average period of production, or APP. As civilization advances, we create longer, more complex APPs.
We don't just weave nets anymore. We build factories, power grids, we write software.
And all of this requires a massive foundation of savings to sustain us while we build.
This is so crucial. Savings is not hoarding. That's the great Keynesian lie, isn't it? That saving money is somehow bad for the economy.
It's the great lie of the 20th century. They tell you savings is a leakage from the system. Böhm-Bawerk tells you savings is fuel.
It's the physical foundation that keeps the workers alive while they're building the tools.
You eat all your seed corn, you have nothing to plant for the next harvest. It's that simple. Consumption destroys value, production creates it.
And you can't produce the complex tools of modern life without a massive reservoir of saved time and resources.
Which brings us to the cage match, the intellectual duel of the 19th century. Böhm-Bawerk versus Karl Marx.
This was the heavyweight title fight of economic theory.
It really was.
Now, most people know Marx's general idea, workers of the world unite and all that. But what was his specific economic argument that Böhm-Bawerk just destroyed?
So Marx's argument was all based on the labor theory of value. And it's seductive, you know. He says, look, a worker builds a chair. The materials cost $10. The chair sells for $100. But the worker only gets paid $50.
And Marx says the capitalist just stole the difference.
Exactly. He called that surplus value. He argued that all interest and profit are just exploitation. They're theft from the worker.
It's a powerful narrative. People still fall for it today, this idea that profit is inherently evil. So how did Böhm-Bawerk take it apart? Did he just talk about risk?
He did, but he introduced something much more fundamental. He brought in the dimension of time.
The time point variable?
Right. He just performed this surgical deconstruction. He said, Marx, you are forgetting that $100 today is not equal to $100 in 5 years.
Okay, so use an example.
Think about a steam engine. It might take 5 years to build and then sell. The worker building that engine, does he want to wait 5 years to get paid?
No way. He has to eat tonight. He's got rent to pay tomorrow.
Exactly. So the capitalist provides the worker with wages now. He provides present stability. The worker is trading his potential future share of the profit for the certainty of dinner tonight.
And the capitalist takes on what?
The capitalist takes on the future uncertainty. He bears the risk. He's the one starving, so to speak, while the net is being built.
So the interest, the profit, isn't theft at all.
It's the price of time. It's a fair market trade. The discount, that profit margin, is the fee for waiting. Without that exchange, the worker would literally have to starve for 5 years until the product finally sold.
Marx just ignored the clock.
He completely ignored the psychological and the physical weight of time. He assumed time was free. And Böhm-Bawerk proved that time is the most scarce, most valuable resource of all.
Which brings us to the tragedy. Let's fast forward to 1914. Böhm-Bawerk is nearing the end of his life. He's watching the Austrian government, and he sees the disaster coming.
Yeah, he published that article we mentioned, Our Finances. And the tone of it, it's not academic anymore, it's desperate. He describes the government as being caught in that spider's web of special interests.
I have the quote right here. It's chilling. He says, "We have squandered everything by borrowing in the present at the expense of the future."
That is the perfect definition of temporal looting.
Temporal looting. Man, that is a heavy phrase. Let's just say it with that. You're saying we are stealing time?
Think about how national debt actually works. When a government borrows money it doesn't have to pay for things today, who ultimately pays it back?
Future taxpayers. People who aren't even born yet.
The unborn. Exactly. It is eating the time resources of the unborn. It is consuming the capital that the next generation needed to build their own nets. We are forcing our grandchildren to starve so we can have a feast.
And look what happened. He died in 1914. Just 8 months later, the Austrian Empire and the entire world collapsed into World War I.
The civilization he fought to save, the fiscal sanity he tried to protect, it was all washed away in blood. The military expansion he resigned to protest ended up destroying the very wealth he helped to build.
It's a cycle. Easy money leads to false signals, malinvestment, and eventually war. And we are seeing it again. That spider's web is global now. We are living in a world of infinite debt where we're told deficits don't matter.
We're stripping the copper wiring out of the walls of Western civilization to pay for a party tonight. It creates a high time preference culture. Why would you save if your money is just melting? Why build a net if the government will just confiscate the fish through inflation?
So we're standing in the ruins of the debt temple. The rot is everywhere, just like it was in that office in Vienna. But we are not nihilists here at the Asset Moves Lab. We look for the exit. We look for the asset move. So how does Bitcoin fit into Böhm-Bawerk's universe?
Bitcoin is the resurrection of the low time preference that Böhm-Bawerk championed. I mean, think about his definition of saving. It's the noble will to suppress present consumption for a better future.
But the current system punishes that will. If I save in dollars, I lose purchasing power every single day.
Correct. Fiat currency punishes the saver. It forces you to spend. It forces high time preference. It makes you an animal living hand to mouth. Bitcoin, with its absolute scarcity, that hard 21 million cap it, acts as a temporal anchor.
It's the realization of Böhm-Bawerk's dream. He wanted a budget that political pressure couldn't break. He wanted a gold standard that politicians couldn't fudge.
And Bitcoin is a mathematical gold standard. It's a digital fiscal balance. No finance minister, no matter how much pressure the military or the sugar lobby puts on him, can print more Bitcoin. The protocol just says no.
And that changes the psychology of the user. We see this with Bitcoiners all the time. They stop buying plastic junk. They stop eating the seed corn.
It's a profound shift. When you hold money that you know will hold its value or even increase in purchasing power, you naturally extend your time horizon. You start building nets again. You start thinking about your grandchildren.
Because that psychological underestimation defect is being fixed.
In a way, yes. Bitcoin bridges the gap between the you of today and the you of tomorrow. It makes the future valuable again. That's why we say it isn't just an investment. It is a personal sovereignty preservation device.
It allows you to opt out of the looting. It allows you to store your labor, your time in a vault that the spider's web cannot touch.
And in doing so, it allows humanity to finally rebuild the capital structure. If we want a civilization with high technology, with art, with peace, we need savings. We need the roundabout. Bitcoin is the only money that incentivizes that behavior on a global scale.
So here's the reality. The ghost of Böhm-Bawerk is screaming at us from 1914. He told us what happens when you borrow from the future. You get ruin. You get war. You get the collapse of the entire structure.
But he also showed us the way out. Honest economics. Wealth built through patience, not through looting.
We have to wrap this up, but I want to leave you with a strategic question. A question you need to answer for yourself in the privacy of your own mind. Are you a slave to the now, addicted to the sweet poison of debt, watching your time melt away in the hands of central bankers?
Or are you ready to be a master of time? Are you willing to endure the agony of waiting to build the net of future prosperity?
In The Collapse of the Debt Temple, Eugen von Böhm-Bawerk points to the only exit, reclaiming your time through Bitcoin.
This has been The Deep Dive. Analyze the move. Protect your time. We'll see you in the next protocol.